Hello everyone, Linda Israel here. I have a printable or a digital image sheet from Calico Collage, and this is called Victorian Holiday. These are 1-inch squares that come out printed on one sheet, and they're just darling. So I'm going to make a couple of embellishments and show you how to do that. So what I have done is on my Sizzix Vagabond by Tim Holtz, I have cut the bird die, and that is the caged bird by Tim Holtz Alterations. So it has that bird cage and a bird on there, and I thought it'd be kind of cute to make a little embellishment. I've got a little basket here of goodies that I'm going to dig out of. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I've got my distressing tool here, and I'm going to go around the whole image with the distressing tool. So I'm going to do the wing and the bird. I'm using the color Stormy Sky, and I've got a blending tool from Tim Holtz. Now, depending on how heavy-handed you are, you can just put a light dusting of color, or you may want a lot of color. I'm working on a winter-themed junk journal, and I wanted some blue elements. This was cut on ivory cardstock. That's what I cut that bird cage out with. So now I'm just going to take a little bit of my Aleene's tacky glue and put just a little bit on the back side of this, and I'm going to place it just above the holes at the bottom and tap it down, and then I'll place the little wing with a little bit of Aleene's tacky glue, and then place the wing on the birdie. Now, using some scraps from my stash, I made a little label punch and a circle punch, and I have punched these little shapes here. So I've got some little shapes that I want to use. And then what I found is really awesome about these images from Calico Collage is I have a 1-inch square punch that if I take it and go right in and line it all up and punch that, it cuts it out darn near perfect. So that makes it handy whenever you're working with these little pieces. You don't have to hand cut each one if you have a paper cutter or a punch. So I'm going to take this image and go around the edge and just add a little blue. This will also help hide any of that white area that didn't get cut away when I punched the image. I didn't punch it like that either. Okay, I'm being silly. I'm going to go around this lighter blue piece and add a little distressing. And then we've got the darker blue. Sometimes it doesn't really show up. I'm just doing it a little bit to see. It's not really a good color for it to show up. Alright, so to keep it pretty simple, what I do is use a little bit of a glue stick. I found that if I stick it onto the top of the stick and then just kind of push it around, it will pick up some glue, and that's about all you need whenever you're working on pieces like this. And I'm going to stick it right in the center of the circle. And then I'm going to take this piece, and I'm not going to use this glue. I'm going to use a different glue. I forgot. I've got some eyelash yarn. And eyelash yarn is yarn that has little fibers in it. In this case, it's 2 pieces that are twined together. So it has these little neat colored pieces in it. And I just want a little piece of it, so I'll just kind of move the fibers out of the way so I can get a spot to cut. And hopefully you won't get near as many pieces. He only had one little piece. Sometimes if I cut it, I have thousands of little pieces here. And what I'm going to do is lay this onto the blue piece here. And then I'm going to take my Aleene's tacky glue and make a little circle on the back side. And I'm going to place this on top of those fibers, and that'll help hold the fibers in place. Like so. And then I'm going to put some glue on the back side of this. Doesn't need a lot, but I want it to adhere and not pop off. So then I'm going to place this right here on the corner. And I'll clean that up. So there is the start. I have one more thing I want to do to that embellishment. So I have some little self-adhesive rhinestones. So I'm going to cut them apart and use one of those as an eyeball on my little birdie. And then this can be a tuck spot in a journal. Just glue it down and you can tuck things behind it. You can glue it across the bottom down here or on the side in the corner, and then you can have a tuck spot right there. So there's one embellishment. Another embellishment is using a stamp. A lot of people ask me, if you have a big stamp, do you have to have a giant stamp pad to ink it up before you stamp it? Well, I'm going to show you that using the same Stormy Sky and a little bitty ink pad here, that if you basically press and then just walk it back and forth, pouncing up and down all the way around on this stamp, you can ink the whole thing up. I just go around it a couple of times to make sure that I'm having good color. And I'm trying to make sure that this is doing it straight up and down. And then I'm just going to press this onto a piece of this manila or ivory cardstock. Now you want to put even, firm pressure all the way around. You want it to stay on that piece of paper for a moment or so, because that gives it time for the ink to transfer to the paper. So there it is on my paper. Now I've already done this, but I cut it out. So I've got one here already cut out. Then I'm going to use the Distress ink again and go around the edges. I left a little bit of a border when I cut this out because I didn't want to try to cut out all those little ins and outs. Sometimes I use my brother's Scan and Cut and it works perfect, and sometimes it doesn't see the edges and won't cut it out. So I had one cut on the brother's Scan and Cut and one that got cut by hand. So there is this piece to begin with. And then I have some more of the same elements. So that's what I like about this project, is if you have these tools, or if you end up maybe doing something where you make a template of one of these, or maybe you have a die from a die cutting machine, well, you can make multiple things just from one set. So using the same winter Victorian holiday, Victorian holiday printables, I'm going to go around the edges of it, the piece I punched already, and then I'm going to start layering these up. Again, using some more of the fibers, and I'll put this together. Again, I just put some Aleene's tacky glue on the back of this, and then I'm going to place it in the center of this wreath. And then this will be another tuck spot that you can glue down and put things behind it. So you can put something here, or maybe you'll glue it on this side and put it this way. So there's a second embellishment. And then my third embellishment is I had this blue cardstock. They were bookmark sizes that I picked up years ago for like $1 for a great big stack already pre-cut. So I measured them and cut them in half, and I ended up with this size of a piece of paper. Again, using these same elements, I'm going to adhere these together onto the top. So I'm going to go around the edges of the image and then glue it down to the circle and then make a little layered element. I've got some more of this eyelash trim. I'll place that on here. Use some more of the Eileen's tacky glue. I guess it's Aleen's, not Eileen. It's spelt with an A. And I'll just press that down. And then this will be a tuck spot that can go on a page. Then you can put things underneath it like that. So here are 3 different projects that I shared using some of the similar tools by using the punches and the images from Calico Collage and a few things from my stash. I've made these little neat embellishments. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends. If you have any questions or comments that you want to make, use that comment box down below. Check the description box for links to the images, and if I can find the punches, I'll have those in the description box as well. And check out my blog, because there's lots of other things that I put in the blog post that don't make it in the video. If you haven't already subscribed, please do so and hit that little bell to get notifications. And then, of course, check out the description box to learn more about my Facebook groups. I have 2. I have one that's called Friendly Junk Journal People, and the other one's called By Linda Israel. Thanks again for watching. If you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, have an amazing day. Bye, everyone.